Good evening. Good evening. Hello, my name is LaKeesha Hines, and you're watching the Firestarter Show. I know I'm not in my normal studio, but I am celebrating the love of my life's birthday, and we're actually out of town, so I'm not in the studio tonight. But nonetheless, we're continuing our conversation about God's plan for sexual intimacy, and it has been an interesting conversation, a very, very interesting conversation. Part one was about how um, sexual intimacy in marriage is for God's glory. Part two was about sexual intimacy in marriage uniting couples together. And tonight we're talking about how sexual intimacy in marriage is to be regular. It is to be regular. So if you ask a couple what they think God's purpose is for sexual intimacy, you probably will get a bunch of different answers. Some people will say pleasure. I think the top one, especially amongst believers, is procreation. Some might say love, but that's all true. Nothing wrong with that. But there is a larger vision. There is a larger vision, and oftentimes couples aren't having sex. So what's there to kind of pull them out of that darkness and the lack of intimacy? Like, what is going to bring them out of that? And so we're going to talk about that tonight. We'll also talk about the importance of having sex on a regular basis. So again, it's for God's glory. It is a reminder of our one flesh relationship. Remember, the Bible says, "And the two shall become one flesh." And so it makes sense that sexual intimacy should be on a regular basis, and it should be a regular part of marriage. And so to understand this, we're going to go to the word, because that's right. I'm telling you that this is God's plan, right? So I'm going to give you the scripture to back this up. First Corinthians chapter 7, verses 2 through 5 says, "Each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self control." Ooh. So, this is Paul talking to the Corinthians. And it is so important that we understand that Paul is trying to combat erroneous teaching that delegitimize the role of intimacy within marriage. And he's replying to something that the Corinthians had written to him earlier. And so what he's trying to do now is trying to correct it. And so what was said earlier was that it is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman. And many, many scholars have talked about this, right? But Paul is not talking to the married people. Okay, none of this is in his teachings to married people. Married people are to fulfill their marital duty through engaging in sexual activity together. This sexual activity is to be consistent unless both parties agree to a time of abstinence for prayer. Now, one thing Paul did not do is talk about the specific amount of time or the frequency, but it is crystal clear that married couples should not go into a time of marital abstinence lightly. Like, there needs to be conversation, there needs to be agreement. We need to be devoting ourselves to prayer, and it is by mutual agreement that Paul set up this framework, right, to help protect married couples from the temptation of the enemy. All right. So it is critically important, again, that we understand that the only time, according to what was written in the Bible, that we are abstaining from sex is by mutual agreement, and we're abstaining for a time of prayer. All right. So critically important that we understand that. All right. So I don't want you to go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and I will tell you about the importance of engaging in sexual intimacy and why it's so important. All right. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Fire Starter Show. Hi there. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and I'm the founder and CEO of Firestarter Coaching Services. I'm reaching out to invite you to attend our 2-hour live class on Saturday, March 25th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In this class, we'll be discussing the barriers to receiving blessings. Do you want more love, health, wealth, to lose weight, to learn new things, to just have overall more pleasure in life? If so, what's stopping you? You! Find out how we block our own blessings every day by becoming a student in my life class. To register for class, simply scan the QR code on your screen. Remember, don't meet me there, beat me there. See you soon! All right. It is not too late for you to register for that live class. And if you bring a friend, both of you get to attend for only $50, right? The two of you get to attend this 2-hour masterclass for only $50. So grab your friends and come on. It's not too late to register, not too late to sign up. All right, so we're continuing our conversation about God's plan for sexual intimacy. And so I just want to point out, one of the best things about marriage is having long lasting shared attraction for each other. And this sexual intimacy is one of the main ways that we can be vulnerable and comfortable with each other. And it just surprises me. Like, I'm still shocked to this day with how many couples um not enjoying sex in their marriage. And a lot of times they don't understand the connection between sex and marriage, and how there's a strong connection link between the two. Research has shown that couples who engage in sex at least once a week lead happier lives. Happier lives. So it is worth having open dialogue, open conversations with your spouse about sex if you feel that you're not having enough of it. Because the last thing we want to do is live in a sexless marriage or have some unmet, unsatisfied sexual needs. All right. So now let's talk about, again, the importance and the significance of sexual intimacy in marriage. First reason is it increases intimacy. And we know that having sex on a regular basis brings couples closer together. Each sexual encounter that leads to the big O, our bodies will release oxytocin, which is a hormone. So this is hormonal, people. That hormone oxytocin makes us feel closer to each other, and it actually strengthens our connection and our bond. So without intimacy in marriage, it is so easy for us to get disconnected and to feel that disconnection. So we must take measures by any means necessary to bring back our sex lives. Otherwise, we will feel completely apart, separate, distanced, disconnected from our spouses. Sex actually helps to ignite the fire that once brought us together in the first place. So when we're actually engaging in sexual intimacy, we are revealing the innermost parts of ourselves to our partners. We must trust them deeply, deeply, not to judge our flaws and to see us and take us just as we are. Sex allows us, as I said, to be vulnerable, but set aside those vulnerabilities and to just get lost in the moment, to get caught up, raptured in the moment. And so if we skip out on having sex for selfish reasons, then literally what we do is we risk completely extinguishing the fire that once existed between us. Having intercourse actually reminds us of what we mean to each other, and we get a deeper meaning to our relationship the more we make time for sex. So it is so important, again, that we're having sex on a regular basis so that we increase that intimacy in our marriages. All right, reason number 2, it decompresses our stress. So now I know, we all know that we have responsibilities that we need to handle within the marriage and outside of the marriage. And it can become extremely stressful trying to balance work and home. And some of you have gone back to school for second and third degrees. So you're trying to balance work, school, and home. Then Lord help us all if they're children. So we're trying to balance the responsibilities with the children as well as with our spouses, our own needs, and all of those things. So we can totally get stressed out trying to balance and manage all of this. Also, if any type of life altering event occurs, a death in the family or loss of income, a child gets sick, critically sick, it can add even more stress and strain on the individual as well as the marriage relationship. But a sexless marriage can put us at risk of stress no matter who we are, where we come from, male, female, rich or poor, young, seasoned, whatever. It puts us at risk of stress. And when we're stressed, guess what goes up? Blood pressure, pulse rates, and sometimes even our blood sugar levels. So we must manage our stress. And because if we don't, then it affects not only our eating habits, but also our sleeping habits, and it reduces our immunity. So now we're more susceptible to illness. And it takes us longer to heal and recover from that illness if we don't manage that stress. Stress can also lower our desire for sex. So it also can affect our libido, our sex drive. So we cannot downplay the importance of having sex, because having sex with our spouses make us feel less stressed, can put us in a better mood. Why is that? Orgasms actually boost the production of dopamine in our brains, which helps to release the stress. So, a good mood can actually make us less stressed, but also it can cause more physical affection with our partners. Our sex drives also have a tendency to improve when we're in a good mood. So, a good sexual relationship releases tension in our daily lives, in our bodies, and we can add even more on, like kissing, hugging, and cuddling, which will alleviate even more stress. So, I'm saying if you're not sold by now, I don't know what will. But if you're still not sold, let's keep going. Reason number 3, it helps us to live life aligned. It helps us to do life together. So we know our marital vows were the first thing that kind of got us committed to one another, but we know over time that level of commitment can fade, and it can turn into more words and less action. That's why we need to have sex, to renew the hope of pursuing life as a couple. Doing life with a spouse for sure has trials and tribulations, has ups and downs, pros and cons, but we have to learn to address these things. We have to find ways that will motivate us to achieve our goals together. And when we are having sex on a regular basis, not only does it bring us together, increases our connection, helps us to trust each other more, it actually helps us to discover the unity that we once had when we exchanged our marital vows. Sexual intimacy can remind us every day of the journey that we're supposed to be pursuing together. Sex can take us back to the early days of our marriage when we were excited about forming our union, and it can lead us to the oneness that we all once dreamed of. So, again, so important that we are living our lives in alignment, connected, on the same page, right? All right. Reason number 4, redirect your drive. Redirect your drive. Sex is a proven way to raise testosterone levels, which boost our libido or our sex drive. So every time we have sex, our desire for intercourse actually improves. And if the sex ends in the big O, we feel even more confident about our bodies. So guess what? It boosts our body esteem. Sexual intimacy can also alter our hormonal levels and boost self-esteem. So not only will you feel better about your body, you feel better about yourself overall. It helps us to understand our bodies and our sexual needs better, because if you're not having sex, then it's difficult a lot of times for you to even know what you want, what you like, and all of those things. So the more you practice, the more you're able to be connected with what it is that you want and you need in that sexual relationship. Sometimes you need a third party, because you're struggling to communicate about sex, you're struggling to face any issues you're that may come up, you're struggling to resolve unresolved conflicts in a relationship, and sometimes you just need to bring in a third party. So if that happens, I'm your girl. This is what I'm actually here for. This is one of the things that I do. I do help couples who are struggling with their sex lives. So all you have to do is schedule a heat call. You can call 727-213-8247 and schedule a heat call, and I can help you with whatever it is that you have going on to give you both the life you desire and increase your sexual intimacy, your intimacy overall. You just need help trying to bring things together because you're feeling disconnected. I'm your girl. I'm here to help you with that. All right. So, again, it can help us live our lives aligned. Okay. It helps us to shift our attention from our flaws to our strongest attributes. It can help us to establish our standards for attractiveness no matter how we look. And it can really help to reduce our insecurities about the things that we literally cannot control, because our partners are there to cheer us on, to confirm their satisfaction with us and what we got going on. And it really can, again, help to make you feel more secure about yourself, increasing that body esteem and that self esteem. Also, sex has a tendency to direct our minds into receiving pleasure or giving pleasure. And it can help us be more confident about immersing ourselves into the physical act, and staying present in the moment is so important. And so a lot of times we're focused on our bodies and the physical side of all of this, but really it takes a deep emotional connection rather than a perfect body to enjoy sex. So keep that in mind when you're looking in the mirror, not feeling pleased with what you see. Now, if that is the case, there's something you could do about that. But in the interim, it's important that, again, you stay fully present in the moment and you have a spouse that's encouraging you and cheering you on and just letting you know that they love you just the way that you are. That is so important. All right. Last reason why sexual intimacy is important is because it helps us to model the model. I hear so many times couples who are out there not married complaining about how much married people complaining about how miserable married couples seem to be, and how just turned off they are about marriage in general, because nobody seems to be happy, nobody seems to be having sex, nobody's enjoying themselves, and all they keep hearing is it's work, it's work, it's work. Now that is true, it is work, but you signed up for that when you said I do. But the work should be paying off. Okay, so for married couples who have children, sexual intimacy literally can make us better role models. Our kids can learn about marriage from watching us. That's actually how they do learn. And they get to see that we are affectionate around each other. So we're modeling the model, because a model couple should be affectionate. And it is so much easier for us to display our affection in public when we're doing it in private. How do we do that? Have regular sex. So, besides our children, other people around us, like I said, the unmarried folk, will even notice a spark as well. And sex helps us to put more effort into strengthening our marriage for our family's sake. All right. So, new parents, first time parents, it's very difficult. I know, because you're trying to balance everything. You're sleep deprived, you're just trying to figure out a lot of things, and you're wearing a lot of different hats. You have a lot of different roles and responsibilities, but we must find ways to reignite our sexual intimacy. We cannot let busy schedules or parenting responsibilities consume our intimate time with our spouses, because everybody needs and desires and requires that intimate time together. So I hope that you are taking away something from this series. We're not done. I believe we have one more part for this series. And so hang in here. I hope you're getting something out of it. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Please be sure to drop your comments. Let me know if there's anything that I can answer for you, any way that I can help you. This is what I'm here to do. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be right back here next Thursday, 7 p.m. Don't meet me here. Beat me here. All right. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.